Hello, everyone. Well, it's afternoon now, right, Benicia?
Yes.
I'm a little behind, but we are so excited that you're joining us on Arise and Shine Stories of Triumph today.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a really, really special show for you today. As you can see, we have Mr. Baron Warren with us today, and
Mhm.
we have so been looking forward to this episode.
Yes.
This gentleman, well, let me just tell you the official stuff about him first before we go into how we feel about him. Let me just share. He is a national speaker and a life coach. He works
Mhm.
with at risk males. And I have a great feeling just from talking to him and seeing a few snippets that he motivates everybody he comes in contact with. He
Yes.
believes that males have to make a conscious effort to put away childish things and
Mhm.
have to earn the right to be called a man. I absolutely love that. I don't think anything's given to anyone. You
That's
have
right.
to earn it.
Mhm.
So he's a tough lover and a passionate speaker like myself. And he just motivates and inspires. He is a veteran,
Mhm.
something else we have in common. But he's a Navy man like my brother. So we always have that tussle of Army and Navy fight during the year. But he'll tell you about that and his time there. Bachelor's degree in psychology. And
Mhm.
when he left the military, he worked through the correctional facilities. Think for what? Well, several years. So
Mhm.
he is a strong black man. How about those three words? So
Mhm.
um without further ado, I want to bring him in the room, and you know your special favorite co-host Benicia is waiting to ask
Yes.
him the first question. So let's bring him in. We are so honored to have you with us, Baron Warren. Good
Thank you
morning, good
so much.
morning.
Good morning, ladies. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your awesome platform. This is a true privilege. I appreciate it.
Oh, we're
Thank
blessed to
you.
have you.
Thank you. And how timely is it that we would be able to be speaking to a Black man who
Mm,
has many different facets to him? You know,
mm,
you are a son, you are a father, you're a veteran, you're an author,
mm.
and most of all,
Yes,
you
the
have
book.
a heart for men.
Yeah,
And that is clearly going to be displayed today as we talk about your journey. So, with
absolutely.
that being said, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and, where did this passion begin?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, excuse me. So, like you ladies mentioned earlier, I'm a national speaker. I travel all over the country with a tagline called "Helping Males Become Men." I want to see every single male grow to be a strong man of integrity. That's what I wake up and think about every single morning. That's what I
Mm,
do every single day. I try to find groups of males and turn them into
mm,
strong men of integrity. And I've been doing that now for several years. But prior to that, just like the bio read, I was a Navy veteran for 8 years, and I
mhm,
served honorably in the United States Navy. I left the Navy and I worked for the Michigan Department of Corrections for 4 years. I was
yeah,
actually a correctional officer, then a prison counselor. But during
mm,
that time, ladies, I saw a lot of young black men entering the prison system. And I wanted to do something about that. You know, something kind of sparked the interest in how can I be of value to these men outside of the prison system. So the
yeah,
Lord really put it on my heart and said, Baron, you have a message and you need to share it with the world. So long story short, ladies, about 3 years ago, actually, I quit my job and I became a national speaker full time, and God has just been blessing ever
mm,
since. So I love what I do. I'm passionate about the subject matter. I'm tough
mm,
on men because we have a lot of work to do, but
mm,
I'm tough with a sense of love as well. So,
mm.
in short, that's the Baron Warren story.
That's awesome. That is amazing. So I know the burning question that many may have, like I had, is were you always, this passionate? Were you always a man of integrity? Or Or is that something that you yourself had to learn along the way? We see you well polished, well put together, you in the
Thank
community,
you.
but exact
Mm.
what but how did that come about? Tell us a little bit about like your upbringing.
Absolutely. I hope my mother is watching because shout out to mom because I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't
Good.
for a strong black woman. Can I put that
Come
out
on.
there respectfully?
Yes. Yes.
So and I'm a young man. I'm 35 years old. So we're gonna say about maybe about 15 to 17 years ago, I was a mess,
Mm,
Mm.
but thank God I had some people, my mother in particular, and a lot of strong men who
Hey.
held me
mm,
accountable. They held me accountable to be
Yes.
a man
yeah.
of integrity. So, that's when the
Mm,
journey started. And in all honesty, when you have your parents in your ear and you have the teachers in your ear, that plays a part. But I tell you, when I joined the military, and I saw a few good men, as they would say, a few good men of integrity,
Yes.
and I was able to start having a man conversation
mm,
with some man that I can identify with, that's when the change really started happening. So I got my
Mm.
family to
That's
thank
good.
for it. I got the military to thank for it. I
mm,
had a team of people pouring into me to
mm,
make me who I am today. So I'm very thankful for all those different entities.
mm,
That's I wanted to make one correction to something that you said, Byron. I want to say this because you didn't say this. You said you were a national speaker,
mm,
Hmm.
but I think you're an international speaker. Aren't you
That's good.
international? Aren't
That's
you
Oh
good.
my
global?
goodness. Oh, y'all making me feel real good this afternoon. Y'all know that. So, so I,
Look,
I
look, we got
stand
to put it out
corrected.
there.
That's right. That's
I,
right. And I
I
think what
stand
was so
corrected.
I think one thing that you said for me that was so powerful, a couple of things is one, it does take a village. It takes a village. And two, let's talk about the lies sometimes that I know many people believe about, if it's not your biological father. You said,
Mm,
and I read in the book about, your relationship with your biological father, your stepfather, and the other men. So, I like to
mm,
Yeah.
dispel that lie that people may think, because I don't have my biological father in my life, not that it doesn't impact you, because that's true. We know it that it impacts us, but it doesn't have to stop us from,
Yeah.
mm.
being who God created us to be. So, can you talk a little bit about that piece, biological
Sure.
versus the men that come across your path and being open and coachable and teachable?
That's
Absolutely.
good.
I'll be happy to speak on that. And that's such a important question that you ask. And I'll answer it this way. When we think about that word father means function. When I think about
Mm,
that word father means function. So when males or men tell me they are a father, the first thing I ask them is, how are you functioning, sir? Do you spend
mm,
time with your children? Do you provide for them? Are you actively in their life? How are you functioning?
Mm.
So that
that's
being the
good.
case, if you're functioning as a father, you could be a father to many. There are
Mm,
so many young men who contact me today, young men, older men, middle-aged
Hmm.
men, and I've been blessed to be a father figure to them.
mm,
Functioning as a father has nothing to do with your age, nothing to do
Yeah.
mm,
with your demographics, none of that. It's how you're functioning, sir. So that being the
Hmm.
case, my personal story, I had the privilege, and I want to use that word. I had the privilege of having two direct father figures in my life: my biological father
mhm,
and my stepfather. Unfortunately, I lost them both in the past couple of years. I missed them both dearly, but one was more active than the other, and that was my stepfather. He was. So that being the case, I'm thankful that I was able to have two examples on what it means to be a man. I'm very thankful for that.
privilege per
Ladies,
se.
are you there?
Can you hear us? Hello? Hello? And Tanya.
Be right back. I think his system went down for a little bit. I really, the timing of this show, I just think for men to hear from Baron is going to be really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, ooh, I told you he'd be right back. We sure can, and you'll be back
Yeah.
on the screen in a second here. There we go. Technology at its finest, right? But
You know what
we
I
just
get?
keep moving. That's all you can do.
I think I might have scared Sprint ladies. You know, I get passionate. They couldn't handle all this passion. So I might have skipped. I'll tone it down a little bit. I'll tone it down.
A little bit.
But
No, no,
Don't
no.
tone
We
it
want the
down. Don't
live
tone it
and real
down.
Baron.
Bring it
That's
on.
okay.
but again, ladies, you know, just to reiterate that point, being a father is how you're functioning. And I had the privilege of having two direct father figures in my life, my biological father, and some will call my stepfather. My biological father, I love him, I miss him. He passed away earlier this year, actually. But he wasn't very active. I didn't see him much. I saw him a few times out the year. We grew to have a better relationship as I got older, but he wasn't very active. I love him and I miss him. My stepfather, some would call, who was actually my real father, if you get my drift, because he was
Yeah,
functioning every single day.
Mm-hmm.
as
He
your
was,
dad.
as
Hmm.
my dad, he was such a great man. And not only was he a father to me, he was the father to the whole neighborhood. So when our viewers are thinking about that word father, I want all the strong men of integrity out there to understand you could be a father to many, not just your children, not just your
Hmm.
biological children.
That's the
You could be a
truth.
father up and down the block, you
Yeah.
know. So remember, men, for all the viewers, father means function.
Mm. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
that is good. So growing up, I think which one happened first in chronological order? You joined the military first, right? Is that
Yes, I
correct?
did. Yes, I joined the military when I was
What
19.
So it was like fresh out of school. I noticed that year in between was that was tell me about that year. That was a decision making year. I know for me that's when I went in. I was 19.
Yeah,
What was
a,
going
a, a,
on that year?
a year of just being a knucklehead teenager. That's exactly what it was. Can I be transparent, ladies? Is
Yes,
that how the
you can.
platform is?
I know
Being
that was a
crazy.
special year.
Oh my goodness, so much happened in that one year. Oh my God, we ain't got enough time on this platform to talk about it. But it was a
Wow.
very critical year, and it was a very dangerous year. I
Mm.
was operating as a
Mm,
male. I was not a man yet. I was 18 and I was
wow.
legal in the eyes of the law, but I was doing a lot of things that put myself at risk. I was abusing drugs. I can say that because I'm a man of integrity. I was abusing drugs. I was
Mm-hmm.
hanging with the wrong crowd. I went to jail one time, riding around in a stolen car. I was womanizing
Wow.
at 18 years old. Men of
Wow.
integrity don't womanize, but I was womanizing because I wasn't a man yet. So I was doing a lot of reckless things that was leading to one or two places, jail or dead. And
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
so thankful that a few good men came to my door and said, Baron, we're going to teach you how to be a man of integrity.
Mm. That's so
That's
awesome.
good. That
What I
is
love
good. Did
about
they flip you? Did they flip you and rub you down? Oh, sorry, Benicia.
no,
What
go
snapped
ahead,
you
go
out of
ahead.
it? What snapped you out of it, Baron? What did they say to you?
You know what? I'm gonna tell you. When those guys came to my door, oh, they was looking good, ladies. They was looking good. I'm gonna tell you. You know, I'm biased about the Navy. Them brothers showed up with that white uniform on. They had a nice haircut. You know, you can see a man who got a couple dollars in their pocket. It looked like they
Mm.
had more than $5 in their pocket, and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have
Mm,
$5 in my pocket, ladies. So I wanted $5 or more in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And
mm,
even with all that was going on, I knew I wanted to be somebody. I
Mm,
knew I wanted to be somebody. I knew I wanted to make my mother proud. I knew I wanted to make my community proud. I had graduated high school by the skin of my teeth, barely, but I
mm,
knew I had something more to offer. I just didn't know how I was going to do that. So when them brothers showed up to my door in that white uniform, looking good, talking correctly, telling me all the wonderful things I can do, I was sold. I was really sold. And I saw that look in my mother's eyes, supporting me. I was sold. That's
mm,
what changed, ladies.
mm.
That's awesome.
So along that same vein, in the book, I like when you talk about, let's talk a little bit about like finding your purpose. So in the book, I love when you talk about, going to the Navy, you had all of these, dreams, I'm sure, like these imaginations of what you
So
was going to
funny.
be and what how it was going to be, which I think all of us have experienced in life.
Sure.
As a little girl, you think you're going to get married, and this prince is going,
Mm,
the guy is going to come on a white horse, and you're going to have a picket fence, and then life really happens. And
absolutely.
Hmm.
so, in the book, you talk about when they decided what your position was going to be in the Navy.
That's right.
So let's talk a little bit about how you found your purpose in the
Mm,
midst of something that was a little bit disappointing initially. And I think why that's so important right now is because we're going through a disappointing season, a
Yeah.
time. But in the midst of this, we still serve a God that will bring something
thank you.
good out of it, like
Mm.
purpose. So what is our purpose in this season in life? So could you tell us a little bit about that story? It really made me chuckle when I was reading.
Oh my goodness, I'm chuckling just thinking about it. It's such a funny story. Well, let me start off by this. Anybody who's thinking about joining the military, all branches, they have some cool commercials. I mean, you see people shooting guns, they driving a ship, they flying planes. I mean, it's extraordinary. So
Mm-hmm.
that picture is painted in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So once I finished basic training, once I got to my command, for all the people who understand how the military works, you go through basic training, then you get to your command, then they give you your job. The military don't ask you either, they tell you. They operate on that philosophy. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
ready. I saw the commercial. I'm looking good. Now I got the uniform on and I'm ready. And they said, Mr. Warren, the barber shop needs you. You're going to be a barber. Okay. Ladies, I didn't see a barber on the commercial. I didn't see that part of the commercial. I didn't see anybody doing hair on the Navy commercial. I said, no, that's not what I signed up for. I think y'all got the wrong. Now I like getting my hair cut at the
Mm-hmm.
barbershop, but I
Right.
didn't want to be a barber. So the military again have a way of telling you what you're going to do. They're not asking you; they telling you. Without going into long details, ladies, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Going into that bar,
Mm-hmm.
that has
Wow.
literally changed my life. And I got to share it with your viewers because when I went into the barbershop, the first thing happened, I learned to trade, which I suggest every single man do. Learn some type of trade, whether you like doing it or not, learn a trade. But more importantly, ladies, God knew what was inside of me, and He was giving me the opportunity to tap into that gift. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know that being a barber and working in a barber shop was going to make me a better communicator. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know
Mm.
talking to men in the military in the barber chair, I would become a counselor. I didn't know that was going to happen. But don't you know, something magical started happening. And I worked in a barbershop several years on the Navy vessel. And I found out men wasn't coming to me just for a haircut anymore. I was an okay barber. They were coming to me for a conversation. They were coming to me
Mm.
because they wanted to be inspired and feel good about the day. And I said, wow, Lord, I didn't know I can be so valuable as a
Mm-hmm.
barber. So on paper, I was a barber, but God had me in that barbershop to be more than that. He wanted
Wow.
me to be of service and not just groom men on the outside. I began to groom men on the inside,
That's
you
good.
know, and it
Mm-hmm.
just
Yes.
turned into something extraordinary. And I'm just so, I don't know where I will be had I wasn't forced into a situation that made me uncomfortable. I'm so thankful
Mm,
for it.
mm,
He does that. He stretches us, doesn't he? One of our folks, dear fan and friend,
mm.
made a comment, Leoline Hines, that God knows what's inside of us.
That's
Mhm.
He
right.
already knows that. So he
Mm,
knows how to use us. It's just
yeah,
we
Absolutely.
don't know what he's doing. We can't make sense of it at the time, but he's
yeah,
not confused at all. He knew you were going to be amazing and
Oh
that
my
people were going to be
goodness.
drawn to you,
I'm
you
so
know?
thankful. Ladies, would you believe me if I tell you now I've been out the military since 2012, so that's 8 years. I still get shipmates, as we call them, still contacting me, said, Baron, I loved our times in the barbershop. To this day, every so
mm,
often, I
Wow.
get a friend in California or somewhere else, or reach out to me on Facebook. He said, "Oh, Baron, I need for you to fly to California for a haircut. Not really for a haircut, but for a conversation." you know
wow.
so
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it just makes me identify how of value I was to those men there, and it just warms my
Yeah.
heart. So I'm thankful that God knew better than me, because I was ready to drive the ship, ladies. I signed up to
Mm.
drive the ship. The Lord said, "No, sir, no."
Now,
You're gonna drive that chair with those
That's right.
clippers.
spin,
That's what you're gonna
spin
do.
it around.
That's right.
Woo.
That's
But that's
awesome.
real. That's real talk because it does not happen 99% of the time the way we think it's going to happen. And we
Sure.
have to trust the process. We have to trust the process. So, um, jumping a little ahead, but it's just been pressing on me since we've been talking with the unfortunate things that are happening today, Baron, right now as
Yes.
we speak, with our black men, with our community, with all
Sure.
that's going on. Um, what is your what is your stance? Like, what would you say to the black man that may not have a stepfather that was, a good father? What would you say to the black man that is just fed up with,
Sure.
the injustice and the things that are going on? What would you say to them today?
Absolutely. And again, ladies, I came to this platform today just to answer that simple question right there. And I know it's so
Hmm.
important that we discuss it. Before I even answer it, I want to give my love and support to King
Yeah.
George Floyd, who lost his
Yes.
life. And I'm using that
Yes.
word on
Yeah.
purpose. King George Floyd.
King
Uh,
George. That's
King
right.
George, and
Hmm.
his family, his friends, my heart go out to him and every other black man we done lost to
Yes.
Yeah.
violence like that in this country. I'm a black
Hmm.
man. I'm upset. I'm fed up, and I'm ready for every single person that was involved in any incident like that to be held accountable to the highest
Absolutely.
degree of the law. It's very
The
important
highest
that
degree.
the highest
Yes.
degree, I want all the
Yeah.
viewers to hear my heart and hear my passion on that. As a black man living in America, it's wrong, it's unjust, and I want
Hmm.
everyone involved to be held accountable to the highest degree.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as of today, moving forward, for every single black man that's walking the streets of America, I want him to look in the mirror, recognize the king that he is,
Mm.
and leave the door as a man of integrity.
Mm.
I want every single black man, be it 10 years old, 20 years old, 60 years old, when you leave the house, I want you to look at your family and remember you have to make it home to them.
Yeah.
So I want you to think and use wisdom and go out and
Yes.
protest. Yes, I
Yes.
support that,
Hmm.
but do it as a man of integrity.
Mm.
I want you to go out and hold the city officials, state official, federal officials. I want you to hold them accountable as a man of integrity. I want you
Mm.
to make it
Yes.
home safe to your mother, to your spouse, to your children. I
Yeah.
want you to make it back home safe as a man of integrity. Now, let's be
Mm.
clear. Somebody might be a little confused on what I mean by that.
Yeah.
It's okay to be upset. It's
Mm.
okay to be mad. It's okay to have
Hmm.
a bad day. We all didn't
Hmm.
had a bad day when we saw King Floyd get his life taken like that. Every time I watch that video, I have a bad day. every
Yeah.
time. But I've
I can't
decided
even.
to
Mm-hmm.
leave my
Mm,
house as a man of integrity. I've
Mm,
decided to still go out, be respectful,
mm,
still go out and hold myself as the highest level of integrity I can possibly be, and
mm-hmm.
still go out and fight for what's right. That's what
Mm.
I mean, man, about leaving the house as a man of integrity. You can
Yeah.
fight,
yeah.
you can protest, you can be upset, but you can do it as a man of integrity and make it back home safely to your family. I'm living in Detroit, Michigan, for all the viewers out there. We lost a
Mm,
couple of black
Yeah.
men last night. It was
mm,
protesting.
Hmm.
Another dead black man in the streets of America is not going to help.
mm.
Another black
Yeah.
man going to prison is not going to help the situation.
Right.
Us tearing
Mm,
up the store, that's not going to help the situation.
that's right.
Holding people accountable and
Mm-hmm.
doing it as men of integrity, that's going to affect change. So, my
Mm,
plea, my suggestion, my respectful suggestion, as I stand with every single black man in America, let's go
mm,
out, protest, and
Hmm.
fight as men of integrity.
mm.
That's so good, Baron.
Yes.
It's so sensitive, and you get pulled in different directions. But ultimately, for me, as a believer, I
Mm-hmm.
still have that boundary of what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And what broke my heart, I don't watch a lot of news only because of the scare tactics of media and every they tell the story they want to tell.
Yeah.
sure.
But somebody interviewed a black man, an entrepreneur, in his place of business, which was now torn to shreds.
Mm,
He was fighting with people to keep his safe. He had his money put in the safe, and he was
Mm,
battling with looters to keep
mm,
his safe, and they ripped his business apart.
mm.
That broke my heart
it's
Yeah.
terrible.
and he was in tears. First of all, for a man to even get to that point, and then to be on camera at that point, it just tore me up
Yeah.
because what he took to build his business, to get to that point, to
Yeah.
have a place of business. And he said in tears, it's not just me, it's my family.
That's right.
That's
You
right.
you tore apart my family when you tore my business apart. Like, so I stand for the protests, but
Mm-hmm.
as you say, I struggle with the violence and the looting and all of that, because it's almost like we're playing into the definition that they put in place of to justify the actions that happen. Well, see, this is
Absolutely.
why. We're only
Absolutely.
fueling it. We're only giving them ammunition,
Mm-hmm.
right? Benicia, your thoughts?
So I agree with everything that has been said. I'm very passionate about this because I am a black mother with a black son and black brothers and all of
Yes.
those things, and I recognize as a believer. And even as not a believer, we have to be in a place where we can be angry but don't sin. So we
Mm,
have to find a
thank you,
way
Lord.
to really hone in on our emotions. We all are emotional. I've cried literal tears. I think I posted this week that my son came over, and when he left, I said, "Call me when you get home." Well, is that typical? No, it's not, because he's a
Mm,
grown man. But because of
mm,
everything that was going on, that came up and out before I even knew it. So I get it. I
yeah.
understand. But I also recognize, and I don't want to take this lightly because I can't say I haven't been affected by it. I've been pulled over by a police officer who wasn't so nice. I have friends who live in certain neighborhoods that have had police officers called on them and they own the house. So I think we
Wow.
all have been impacted over and over and over again, and I'm tired of it. I am
Absolutely.
tired. I agree with you, Baron. They need to be held at the highest standard, but I also
Hmm.
recognize that we have to honor what has happened before us, meaning Martin Luther King made a huge difference, right? But he had peace,
Absolutely.
but he did it peacefully.
That's
Gandhi
right.
Yes.
made a huge difference, but
That's right.
peacefully. It may not come in the timing we want. I want it like yesterday, 400 years ago,
Absolutely.
if we're honest.
That's
But we
right.
only can
That's right.
control what we can control. And so I would say to our viewers, you know, sometimes I would say this,
Mhm.
and the Lord has convicted me on this. Well, all I can do is pray. There's no such thing
Mm.
as all we can do. Prayer changes things. Do I recognize that
Thank you,
Yes.
prayer
Lord.
alone,
Mm.
you know, faith without works is dead. So I'm not saying
That's
that we
right.
are supposed to just pray and not do nothing. No, go out, protest, let our voice be heard, and let's recognize that vengeance is not ours, it's God's.
Oh, so
And
well
one reason
said.
why
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about having you on today, Baron, because I think
Mm.
you're the epitome of what we should be doing. So not only
Oh,
did you
thank
get
you.
yourself together, but you made a decision to reach back. And I think that
Not
is the
Absolutely.
everybody
issue.
does that.
That
Yes,
that's
that's
the
the
Mhm.
issue.
minority.
You know, so
Yes.
let me reach back so I can help these kings recognize that they're kings. And so we
Absolutely.
appreciate you. We appreciate you being a father to the fatherless, because that's a
God bless
generation
you.
that we're
Thank you.
living in. And so I just appreciate it. And even as a woman, I think that we have an obligation as
Mm.
women to help the younger women to grow up and to be women of integrity, and also to
Mm.
know how to cover our black men.
Absolutely. Wow. So
Yeah.
well said, ladies. Thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 I think too, I would love to hear from you, Baron, about that this book. Benisha's raving. She's been raving about it since she read it. Um, the 5 steps to manhood.
Must
The
read.
and how some of those steps play into what's going on in the world today, right
Hmm.
now,
Yeah.
in this time that we're living in. Talk to us
Absolutely.
about those steps.
Yeah, ladies. Wow, I'm just getting emotional thinking about the situation. I'm getting emotional thinking about the book, and I'm just praying out loud, Lord, let this book be of value to me and my family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think we're frozen.
I think so too.
It will be of value.
It has been of value. If you have not um, gotten the book, we definitely are going to put all of his information on there. The book, and I'm sure he'll be back. The book talks about choosing to be a man, choosing to be a lifelong learner, delighting yourself in
Yes.
responsibility. And he has a specific section to men who are incarcerated. So he's back.
Yeah. There he is.
Yeah.
Hey,
Ladies, are
Baron.
you there? Can you hear me?
Can you
Yes.
hear us okay?
Can you hear me,
We
ladies?
can.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you for the viewers who are able to follow us. Sorry about the technical issues. But my book, my new book,
Yes.
The 5 Steps to Manhood, I am praying that it be of value to all the men out there. So for the viewers out there, I just wanted to share the idea behind the book. I wanted to use my
Mhm.
Sorry for the instability, folks. It seems it's a connectivity issue. But Benicia, you had started talking about the value that the book is, and you can kind of lean into that until Baron gets back with us because he's fallen off. Well, it appears I've lost sound with Benicia as well. Technology. I wonder, I wonder if this is coincidental. I'm not really a big I'm not really a big conspiracy theorist, but this seems to be proven a little coincidental to me. But Baron, are you back with us?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Thank you. Thank you. So sorry to the viewers who are experiencing this technical difficulties. We definitely
I
mean well.
know
So
it.
sorry about that.
Yeah, it is. But you go right ahead, Baron. You just continue to chat because we want to
Absolutely.
hear about the 5 steps to manhood.
Absolutely. And to the viewers out there, thank you again for joining us. The Five Steps to Manhood was a book that I written. The Lord put it on my heart to use my life story as a guideline to help males grow to be great men of integrity. So I wanted to use my life. I didn't want to just, write something to be preachy. I wanted to use my life story as a guideline to help males graduate to manhood. So I came up with 5 simple steps on how every male, no matter your age, 10 years old or 60 years old, can learn and grow to graduate to being men of integrity. So, that being the case, I made 5 simple steps, and here they are. The first step, in order for a male to transition from malehood to manhood, he has to choose to be a man. He has to make a conscious decision. The second step is he has to discover his calling for his life. He had to find his assignment, his mission for his life. The third step is to be a lifelong learner. He has to always be pouring into himself so he can be of value to his family and community. The fourth step is delighting himself in responsibility, being delighted to take care of his business. And the last step, which is one of my most important steps, one of my favorite steps, is step number 5, which is help another male become a man. Help a male become a man. Identify a male in need and take him by the hand and help him grow to be a man of integrity. So the 5 steps of manhood is a short read. It's an easy read, and I also put something in there for mothers as well.
Hmm. The book was amazing. So I do encourage everyone to purchase it. We'll make sure that we put the links in it. And you're absolutely right. As a mother, I was encouraged. I brought it for my son, but I read it first. And it just really encouraged me. It encouraged me to know that there are men out there that have these characteristics, such as yourself. It encouraged me to pray specifically for our men in regards to these different areas. I love how you talked specifically about being a life learner, a
Mm.
lifelong learner, and delighting yourself in responsibility. Honestly, I know it was written for men, but it checked me along the way.
That's so good. That
It
is so
did.
good.
It really did. It did. So,
Well,
well,
I can't
again,
wait to read mine.
and
yeah,
again, ladies, I know we was having a few difficulties there. I wanted for all the viewers who didn't catch those 5 steps. I just wanted to repeat them one last time for your
yes.
viewers. In the
Mm-hmm.
Please.
book, the 5 steps, and I believe this is a guideline for every male
Yeah.
to make a successful transition to manhood.
Mm.
And those 5 steps are choosing. Step number 1, you have to choose to be a man. You have to make a conscious decision to put away childish things and choose every single day.
Yeah.
Step number 2, you have to discover your calling, your
Mm.
purpose, your mission, your assignment for your life.
Mm.
Step number 3 is being a lifelong learner. You
Mm.
have to always be poured into yourself so you can lead your family, your community, everyone around you. You have to always be pouring in yourself. So you have to be a lifelong learner.
Mm.
Step number 4, delight yourself in being responsible. That means for all the men out there, we don't pay bills with an attitude. We don't take care of our kids with an attitude. We
Mm.
don't mope and complain when it's time for us to go out there and take care of our business. No, I put a fancy word in front of responsibility, which is delight. Be
Mm.
delighted to take care of your children. Be
Wow.
delighted to take care of your spouse. And last but not least, most importantly, especially what's going on today, step number 5, which is help another male become a man. The
Yes.
United States Navy came to my house because I was a crazy male, and they took me by the hand and showed me how to be a man. So if I can just get 5 brothers to do that, the world will be a better place. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the 5 steps.
So good. So
I'm
good.
putting them right in the feed so everybody can just jot them down. Help another man become a man,
Another
right?
That's right.
man.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yes.
I love
Absolutely.
it.
And Baron, you within the book, it's so much. You have scriptures in the book, so obviously God plays a huge part in your journey and in your process. Can you talk a little bit about that? And the other thing is learning how to meet people where they are. So
Mm.
I
Mm.
think they both meet in the middle, and you've done that so well, especially with the men that have been incarcerated. I remember us having a conversation, and you said, Benicia, I just can't go in there, just quoting these scriptures and Bible toting and thinking that I'm going to build that relationship. So, can you tell the viewers a little bit about, how God has helped you with that journey and how you've learned to meet people where they are?
Absolutely. I'll tell a quick story. As I was finishing writing a book, a side note, I wrote the entire book in Starbucks. I miss Starbucks right now, y'all. I wish I could go right now, but that's a whole nother story. Wrote the whole book in Starbucks over a few months, and as I was finishing, or so I thought I was finished, I was wrapping up, ready to submit it, and the Lord put it on my heart to add one more chapter to it.
Mm,
And I mean, I was moved by it, and I believe he told me to put in there, Baron, let them know that the only way to be a real man is to give your life over to me and stay in my
mm,
presence. That's the
so
only
good.
way. Now I put the 5 steps in there, and
Mm,
I gave a lot of value, but none of that matters if you're not
yeah.
walking with the Lord. None of
Come
it.
on. Come on, sir.
So I said, thank you, Lord, for not letting me get ahead of myself and put
Mm,
the most important part to the book in the book. I'm so happy that he reminded me of that. So, that
mm,
being the case, that's the very last chapter. But in regards to keeping that in mind and meeting people where they are,
mm-hmm,
oh, ladies, I travel this country and abroad, and I've met so many different men from different demographics, different upbringings, just different situations. And especially in the prison system, like it was spoke on earlier,
yeah,
I can't go in the prison system with my Bible in my hand and
mm-hmm,
quote scriptures word for word. So
mm,
I've learned to meet people where they are
mm,
by letting my walk do the preaching.
mm.
Let
That's
the way I
good.
carry myself do the preaching. So
That's
guess what? Every time you see Baron Warren, you're going to see a man of integrity.
mm,
You're going to see a godly man of integrity. Every time you see me, you want to see me clean. You're going to see me speaking respectfully. You're going to see me showing men and women the love of Christ. So when that happens, and I love it when this happens, ladies, it happens every so often. I'll get a guy that come up to me, maybe at the prison or maybe at the school where I'm training at, and they say, Mr. Warren, you always neat. You always speak intelligently.
mm,
You always show respect. Why do you do that? And the first thing I say is, I'm saved. And I let them know because I want society to see a
mm,
godly man of integrity. So, that being the case for all the viewers out there, you gotta stay in the Lord's presence. That's for men and women.
mm-hmm,
Anybody that's walking this earth, you gotta stay in God's presence. He's going to show you what your calling is for
mm,
your life if you
mm,
stay in His presence. He's going to help you leave the house in protest in a godly way
yeah,
if you stay in His presence.
yeah,
But if you're not in His presence, you're going to lean on your understanding and you're going to do some things that's going to put you at risk every day. So, that being the case, I want all the viewers, men, women, black, white, old, and
mm-hmm,
young,
mm-hmm,
to understand we have to be in God's presence before we leave the door every single day.
mm-hmm. That's good. That's so good. That's so good. And that's real. That's true. Outside of his presence, we're going to allow our feelings, our emotions, our own desires to override
Right.
his. And so that
That's
poses
right.
another question, because you told us that we could put you in the hot seat. So
Please do.
so so my question to you is, just as a man and a man of God, and even us, we have so many temptations that come our way. How
Yeah.
do you keep yourself grounded? How do you keep yourself humble? I mean, with the success you've had, I mean, on
Mm.
your website, I see that individuals like Stacey Dash, Cedric the Entertainer, Lisa Leslie, and
Wow.
individuals that we look at, as stars, have read your book and said wonderful and awesome things about you. So how do
Thank you.
you talk about living integrity when you're at home, when no one can see you? As
Yeah.
Baron, what things do you put in place to help you? Again, none of us are perfect. We all fall short. But what are the things you put in place to help you live that even when no one's looking?
Oh, that's such a great question. And let me be crystal, 100% honest, because like I've been saying 99 times on this broadcast, I'm a
Yeah.
man of integrity, and I want to stay that way. I want to wake up every morning as a man of integrity. But Baron
Mhm.
Warren is not a perfect man. I'm still
Right.
struggling with things every single day. Oh my goodness. Temptations
Yes.
is out there. I'm young.
Right.
I'm
Hmm.
excited about life, things that y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm young and excited. We're gonna leave it there. I'm young and excited. Okay. so 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 that being the case,
Hmm.
I gotta always stay in his presence. That's the answer. I was just talking to my daughters. I'm a proud father of two beautiful
Hmm.
daughters. It's unfortunate, but I want the viewers to know the full story. I'm a divorced
Yeah.
man. I was married
Hmm.
for 9 years,
Hmm.
and think about it often. That's a period in my life where I struggled. So I want to do things the right way. So
Yeah.
now I make a mistake here or there, but I know where to go
Mhm.
when I get in trouble, ladies. I know
That's
where to
right.
go, and that's that word of
That's
God. It ain't nothing else. I got to get in His
right. Hmm.
presence when I'm feeling a little lost and a little confused about some things.
Yeah.
This past year, some extraordinary things has happened with me coming out with the book, and the celebrities and a few other doors are getting ready to open up for me. Since those things has been happening this year, ladies, when I tell you I've been on my hands and knees, Lord, keep
Mm,
me. Lord, just
mm,
keep me. I don't want to come off arrogant or
mm.
full of myself or look at me now. No, 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 no. I want people to see Baron Warren's success and say, look at God. Look at
Yeah.
what God is doing in his life. And look how he's always honoring God with his behavior and his words every single day. So
Yeah.
that being the case, I have made my walk with the Lord a priority. That's a
Mm,
priority in my
mm,
life. Not just going to church, not just listening to
mm.
some gospel music in my car,
Right.
which is nice, all those things. I have made my time with him. I'm seeking him early in the
Yeah.
morning, ladies. I am.
Mm, mm.
So because I want to always be that man of integrity. That's working for me. So I
Right.
want to share that message with all the viewers as well.
Mm. Baron, can you hear Tanya?
I cannot. I'm so sorry. I
I, c-
cannot.
I couldn't hear her as well.
Okay. I hear her talking. That's okay. We still giving a lot of good, valuable information. I'm so thankful.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm so grateful that you put it out there, because you're right. Even in this walk, there is no perfection.
Yeah.
There is the only one person that is perfect is Christ.
Thank you,
We
Lord.
have to make a choice, like you said. I think that's one of my favorite words, is that we choose. People see
Mm,
you, they see us, and they think, I don't know if they think we wake up and we on like a cloud, like, the angels are just, but every day we have to make choices when
that's right.
temptations come up, when emotions are high. We have to make a choice every day to honor God. And in
That's
those
right.
days that we miss it, we honor him by going back to him, like you said, and being in his presence and asking ourselves those hard questions, like what didn't I do, or what didn't
Mhm.
I honor that put me in this situation. um
Absolutely.
so that
So
was
true.
so good.
Hmm.
Let's talk about your time in the prisons. I'm very interested in. I love the story about the gentleman that you said, was a gentleman that was kind of a little, let's say, rough around the edges, for a better
Sure.
lack of words. But because of the love that you displayed, the consistency that you displayed, it broke that hard shell down. I think this
Mm.
is an important point, because right
Yes.
now, with emotions running high, we don't recognize the real power of love, and how
Absolutely.
love really does cover a multitude of sins. So can you share a little bit about that story? It was amazing.
Oh yeah, and that's so well said how you put it. For all the viewers out there who are watching, I wanted to give them an insight about prison and prison work. Let's be clear about something. Everybody in prison is upset. Everybody, not just the prisoners, the staff members, everybody. They mad
Mm,
every day. So, and I say that respectfully because I work prison and still do a lot of contracting with the prisons.
mm,
So when you walk inside of a prison, hear my heart on this for the viewers. It is a dark place. Prison as
mm,
a whole, prison culture is a very dark place. So
mm,
you find yourself, even as a Christian man, you find yourself entertaining dark things. You find
mm,
yourself operating in a dark way. Some may
mm,
say that's just how you get through the job. You find yourself, I can be honest, using profanity and doing things that you wouldn't normally do because that's the culture.
mm,
Even when I was in the prison, again, I wasn't a perfect man, but during that time, I was still walking around as a man of integrity, a godly man. And
mm,
I thought to myself, the Lord revealed to me, Baron, if you really want to affect change to these men inside, behind these prison walls and the staff members, you got to let your walk do the talking. You got to let
mm,
your walk, the way you wear that uniform, the way you
mm,
carry yourself, you have to let that be your ministry.
mm,
So I identified that and I used that to my advantage every single day. Now, the story that I told in my book, it was just one particular guy, and there's many in there, who was just broken on the inside. Let me just say
mm,
that. And they use, broken people use, the old saying goes, hurt people.
that's
You
right.
know, you get a lot of that in prison. It's a lot of hurt men. They upset. They can't leave. A lot of them come from broken homes. So what better target than the correctional officer every single
Mm-hmm.
day?
Right.
So I took it upon myself to show him the love of Christ in spite of. I
Mm,
wasn't passive. I wasn't being a pushover, but in a manly way, in a bold, confident, strong, manly way, I showed him the love of Christ. And when
mm,
you know it, he broke down one day. He broke down
mm,
and apologized to me and told me,
mm,
Mr. Warren, I had never experienced a man like you before. And he told me a lot of different things, that I couldn't even put in the book. But he shared a lot of personal things with me. But he ended the conversation with, Mr. Warren, I apologize. Help me turn my life
mm.
around. Help me. And
Help
I
me.
took a lot of value in that, ladies, because this was a man who was much older than me. He was much
Yeah.
older than me. So
Mm,
he saw the value that I was trying to pour into him. And
mm.
again, back to that age piece, a 30-year-old man can inspire a 50-year-old man if he's a man of
That's right.
integrity,
That's right.
and I think that's what happened on that day. So I was very grateful for that. And I heard that he's doing extremely well now. So I'm
Mm,
very thankful. It's a success story.
mm. That is so awesome. It's so awesome. And we recognize that, he's not just doing well, everyone that is connected to him. So that's why we have to
Mm,
know it's so much bigger than just us. If you
that's right.
change one person's life, you can change a whole generation.
That's
You
right.
can to establish legacy. So it's
Mm,
so powerful. And we have to remember that when sometimes, we feel small, or we feel insignificant, even almost like you said, you know, you wrote the book but you wasn't
Right.
quite sure.
That's
But the
right.
Lord took it and he has used it to change people's mindsets and people's
Oh my goodness.
behaviors. So
Thank you,
that
Lord. I'm
is
so grateful.
amazing, amazing. So how do you think psychology, studying psychology and doing what you do you think that it's been a benefit to understanding how people think, and the importance of, you speak to that in the book, educating yourself and being a life learner?
Absolutely. And you all pray for me. I'm actually getting my master's now in counseling. I'm attending the
Mm.
University of Detroit Mercy, a great school. It is one of those things. Can you hear me clearly, ladies?
We can hear you, Tanya.
Yeah,
We can't hear you though. Hmm.
we going
Go ahead, Baron. Hmm.
yeah. To answer your question, education has played a huge part in psychology specifically because it has given me the platform to reach people where they are. It has reminded me when I'm counseling, coaching, or
Hmm.
motivational speaking to someone. It has reminded me that, hey, Baron, when you talk to somebody, it's not your agenda. Anytime I
Mm.
communicate with somebody, I don't bring the Baron Warren agenda. No, I find Dr.
Mm.
Mr. Jones' agenda. What's going on in his
That's
life? Let me meet him there. What's going on with Miss Smith? I have spoken at female institutions, believe it or not. I've found
mm,
out where can I meet them at? How can I
mm,
provide a safe place for them to communicate with me?
yeah.
Prior to me studying psychology, I didn't know that was necessary, but it is. I've learned how to be an active listener and to listen to
Mm,
people and meet them where
mm,
they are and wait to the right time to give my opinion or my
yeah.
suggestion. So
Yeah.
my education and me moving forward, I'm hoping that the Lord will let me go as far as getting a doctorate degree one day. Ain't that
Mm.
something? A crazy kid from Detroit pursuing a doctorate degree. You see how good God is? You
Won't he
know,
do it?
don't get me excited now. so
Well, that's something to get excited
there
about.
you
That's
go.
exciting.
I'm just a crazy
Mm-hmm.
kid from Detroit talking about a doctorate degree, you know? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
very thankful for. So that step number three, being a lifelong learner, is so important because you'll be able
Yeah,
to add value to
that's true.
everyone around you.
That's so true. So, how do you handle? I've studied psychology. I have a ministry with women. How do you handle? And this is what I'm still learning to balance. So, I would love to hear how you handle it. How do you handle being that ear for everyone? Because sometimes if you don't know what to do with that can be overwhelming. When you go to the prison and you see these
Mm.
broken men and you hear their stories and you're mentoring these other, men, and then you have your children and you have school and all of these different things. So how do you guard yourself from taking all of that on?
Wow, that's such a valid question. And the honest answer is that I'm still learning, to be honest. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still learning how
Mm-hmm.
to do that well. I got a
Yeah.
lot on my plate these days, being a single
Mm-hmm.
father and being
Yeah.
self employed. But I tell you what, for example, oftentimes when I go speak at a prison,
Mm-hmm.
before the social distancing, they will put but maybe 200 guys in the gym to hear me speak,
Mm.
guys who are behind the wall. And after I give a passionate talk, all 200 of them want to come ask me a question. Every last one of them.
Wow.
I'm not always able to do that, but I tell you what I've learned how to do. I stand by that door and I give each and every one of them a handshake and maybe 30 seconds just to
Mm.
hear them, just to hear them say thank you. Look them in the eye. Give them some time to let them know that they're of value and I see
Mm-hmm.
you and I
Yeah.
understand what you're going through.
Mm.
So I've learned how to identify my situation, identify when I'm not taking on too much
Yeah.
for myself as a professional, respectfully, as a professional counselor. I've learned how to turn off my phone at certain
Mm-hmm.
times because we need that
Mm-hmm.
private time as well. So I think the answer that I would like to give is you have to identify when the Lord is leading you to be a blessing and to be of
That's so
value.
good.
And you have to
Mm,
identify when it's time to take a rest, if I can say that
mm-hmm.
respectfully. I've learned how to do that. But I tell you what, just as some encouraging words to anyone who want to be of service and provide value to someone, consider, always consider giving somebody a minute of your time. It goes a
Yeah.
long way.
Yes,
It
I
does.
agree with that. I agree with that totally. On your website, I saw where you were at a school with young men, young
Mm,
boys, and you stood by the
absolutely.
door, and yep, you shook every single one of their hands. And my heart
Mm,
was so overwhelmed because I'm sure that they were thinking somebody sees me. And I think we take that for
yes,
granted sometimes, when you
absolutely.
do have people in your life who you can go to and your home is peaceful and things of that nature. But everybody doesn't have that story. And
That's right.
so I could tell by the look in their eyes that maybe that's the only handshake that they've ever gotten.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and I tell you, that video, it warms my heart every time I see it, and I
Yeah.
do that everywhere I go. That's
Mm,
my signature. I stand by the door.
yeah.
Anytime a speaking event or a training event, I make sure I stand by the door. But I
Mm,
tell you, when I look at that video and I see those young men, the way
mhm.
they look at me, they say, "Wow, that's a man of integrity."
Yeah.
Mr. Warren, I want to be like Mr. Warren when I grow up. He's neat. He's respectful. Mr. Warren has a belt on and his pants pulled up. Hello,
Mhm.
somebody. He has a belt on. Did y'all hear
That
me on
part.
that? Yeah, that part.
That part.
He has his shirt tucked in. It's
Mhm.
cool to have your shirt tucked in, man. That don't make you weak. That don't make you soft. That make you a professional. If you want to be
Mm.
neat and
Yeah.
well groomed and clean and smelling good, I consider myself to be a cool guy. At least I'm trying to be at 35 years old. But I've learned it's not cool to have your pants pulled all the way down. That's not
Mm.
cool. It's
Mm.
not cool to leave the house not shaven.
Right.
You are offending your community when you have your pants pulled down, sir. You are offending someone when you smell like marijuana all day long. You're
Mm.
offending someone.
Mm.
So that being the case, don't get me started now. I'm trying to be
Mm.
nice on this platform. So
Go
I'll
with it.
stop there, but I'll
Hmm.
just say that's why I stand by the door, because after they hear me running my mouth, when they
Hmm.
pass me, I want them to remember I shook the hand of a man of integrity.
Mm. That's so good. That's so good. Especially, I just think men, certain things men can only teach men. That's it. I mean,
Mm,
I grew up. Well, I was a single mom, so I grew up trying to raise my son in the best of the ability I could. Thank God he did send some godly men across
mm,
my path to help because I recognized it only was so much that I could do.
yeah.
There's a saying that says you become what you see. And I really do believe that when a man or a male, young, whatever, sees someone well put together, well spoken, that somewhere deep down inside they desire to be that because that's who God created them to be, anyways. Like you said
Absolutely.
earlier, kings, and so we want to operate as such.
Absolutely. And if I could
Yeah,
just add one more small detail to that, you know,
absolutely.
especially considering I deal with so many single mothers. I get a
Mm,
phone call or an email from
yeah.
single mothers who are doing fantastic jobs. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
I always respectfully suggest to them, your son needs to have a man
Yeah.
conversation in addition
Yes.
to what you're doing. He needs
Yes.
to see, even if his father's not around, the man at
Mm-hmm.
the church, the man at the
Mm-hmm.
school, the basketball coach,
Yeah.
Baron Warren, please call me. He
Mm-hmm.
needs to have a conversation with somebody he can identify with. It's
That's
so
right.
important,
Mm.
Even and it's interesting because that don't even stop when you become an adult man. I'm
Yeah.
35 years old and I have some strong men of integrity who talk to me, mentor me, hold me accountable,
Mm.
and someone I can have a man conversation with.
Mm.
So that's
That's so
so
good.
important. So important.
So good. So this has been amazing. I think that
Thank you.
it really is going to bless so many individuals that are listening. I pray that everybody would share, 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 share. I think I tagged, I
Please.
don't know how many men on my Facebook. But I really believe that this is a book. It's an easy read, as Barron said. It's not a book just for men. I want to say that because I am a
Thank you.
woman, and it caused me to look at myself in some spaces, especially when
Oh,
it says
wow.
delight yourself in responsibility. Yes, I'm still working on that. But it was amazing. So we want to
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for your time, just taking the time out, for being so willing to be selfless,
Thank you
and
so much.
to just pour into others. And so we appreciate that. We need that as a community. We mean that for our Black men and all men of races, so we can
That's
come
right.
together and be strong. So, is there any
Absolutely.
parting words that you would like to say to our viewers?
Absolutely. And this is kind of a surprise, but I wanted to donate
Mm,
2 books of the 5 Steps to Manhood to 2 of your lucky winners, whoever you choose. You send me their addresses, and I'll be happy to send us 2 signed copies of my book to 2 of the viewers that were listening today. I'll make sure I put those signed copies in the mail Monday morning.
that is so awesome. Thank you so much. You're always going to be blessed because you are a giver. And we know that's what the Bible says, not just giving your books, but giving of your heart, your time, your talents, your gifting. So we want to say thank you so much. I know Tanya feels the same exact way.
Thank you.
That we really believe that this was a divine appointment on today. So we
Oh,
appreciate you. We appreciate
please have me
everyone.
back. Don't forget about me now, y'all. Y'all stuck with me. Y'all. Once y'all call me, you stuck with Baron Warren. So y'all don't forget about me. I'll be happy to come back.
We will not forget about you for sure. We need to be saying the same thing as you get larger and larger and bigger and bigger. Don't forget about us. But we just
Absolutely.
want to speak blessings over your life as you move forward and as God continues to open doors. So thank you again. Don't forget, viewers, make sure you share this episode, and we will see you next week, same time, same place on Arise and Shine. Have a great evening
Thank you,
or day.
ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.